Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Ryan, and welcome back to Speak Up, the podcast where we help you improve your English in a clear and simple way. Whether you're new here or returning, thank you for joining us. Today, we are going to talk about how to introduce yourself in English. Did you know that 90% of first impressions happen within the first 30 seconds of meeting someone? That means your introduction is very important because it is the first chance to show who you are and make others interested in talking with you. Many people find it difficult to introduce themselves confidently in English. But the truth is, you don't need perfect grammar or a big vocabulary to make a good impression. Using simple, clear sentences is the best way to start, and today we will help you do exactly that.
Thank you, Ryan. Hello, everyone. I'm Priya. Introducing yourself is one of the most common situations where you need to speak English. It can be at a job interview, a meeting, or just meeting someone new. Your introduction is the first step in communication. It gives people important information about you, like your name and what you do. When your introduction is clear and easy to understand, it helps other people feel comfortable and ready to continue the conversation. Even if your English is not perfect, a good introduction can show that you are polite and confident. Today, we will learn how to make your introduction simple but effective by using easy phrases and sentence patterns.
Exactly, Priya. When you introduce yourself in English, it's important to speak slowly and clearly. Using short sentences makes it easier for listeners to understand you. Also, a good introduction shows respect and interest in the other person, which builds a better connection from the start. Remember, your introduction is more than just saying your name. It is your chance to share who you are, what you do, and something small about yourself, like where you live or your interests. This makes your introduction feel natural and friendly, encouraging the other person to talk to you more.
Right, Ryan. A clear and confident introduction can open many doors, whether at work or in daily life. When you practice speaking English regularly, you get better at introductions and feel more confident in all conversations. The key is to keep your sentences simple, practice often, and speak naturally. Today, we will show you how to do this step by step so your English introduction sounds smooth and easy.
First, let's understand why your introduction matters so much when speaking English. A good introduction is not optional. It's your first impression. Whether you are meeting someone for the first time in a job interview, talking to a client, or joining a video call, how you introduce yourself sets the tone for the entire conversation. If your introduction is clear and confident, people will listen carefully and respect you more. On the other hand, if your introduction is confusing or too fast, it can make the other person lose interest or feel unsure about you. So learning to introduce yourself well is one of the most important English-speaking tips you can use to improve your English fluency.
Exactly, Ryan. Your introduction is often the first moment others hear your English, and it creates their first impression of your speaking skills. This matters not just in formal situations like job interviews or client meetings, but also in casual conversations with foreigners or new friends. Imagine joining a video call where you need to introduce yourself quickly. A strong, clear introduction helps you feel confident and gives a good start to the meeting. Practicing simple introductions is a great way to improve English fluency and make speaking English easier in many real-life situations.
When you use easy and natural phrases to introduce yourself, you give yourself the chance to speak slowly and clearly. This helps people understand you better, even if your vocabulary is still growing. One of the best English-speaking tips is to practice these simple sentences often, so your introduction becomes automatic. The more you practice, the more your confidence grows, and that confidence shows in every conversation. Remember, your introduction is your chance to make a positive connection quickly.
Yes, Ryan. And adding to that, a well-prepared introduction can open many doors. Whether you're starting a new job, meeting someone from another country, or joining a social event, the way you introduce yourself can create new opportunities. Improving your English fluency starts with small steps like this. Practicing clear introductions regularly helps build your speaking skills and makes every conversation easier. So, focus on making your introduction strong and natural, and you'll see a big difference in your English speaking confidence.
We have understood why your introduction matters, and now let's understand how to build a powerful self-introduction step by step. a good introduction has three main parts. First, who you are. This means your name and a simple identity, like where you are from or your role. This part is easy, but very important because it tells people the basic information about you right away. For anyone learning spoken English for beginners, starting with this simple first step helps make your introduction clear and natural.
That's right, Ryan. The second part of a strong introduction is what you do. This means you tell people about your job, your daily work, or your role in your family or community. It doesn't have to be long or complicated. Just a simple sentence like, I work as a teacher, or I take care of my children. This part shows your role and gives listeners an idea of your daily life. When you learn English fast, focusing on these simple phrases helps you speak smoothly and with confidence.
The third and final part is something personal. This could be a hobby, a place you live, or a goal you have. For example, you can say, I enjoy gardening, or I live in Lahore, or I am learning English to travel. Adding a small personal detail makes your introduction friendly and interesting. It also gives the other person something to ask about, which helps start a conversation. Using these three parts together is a great way for spoken English for beginners to sound natural and confident.
Exactly, Ryan. When you put these three parts together, who you are, what you do, and something personal, your introduction becomes complete and easy to remember. You don't need complicated grammar or long sentences. Simple and clear is the best way to go. If you want to learn English fast, practicing these three parts every day will help you speak with more confidence and improve your fluency step by step.
Remember, the key is to keep your sentences short and practice them often. For example, you can say, My name is Ryan. I work in finance. I like reading books. Practicing this simple pattern will help you speak English more comfortably in any situation. This is one of the best English-speaking tips for beginners because it builds a strong foundation for all your conversations.
Yes, Ryan. And don't worry if you feel shy or nervous at first. Every time you practice, your speaking will get better. Speaking about yourself is one of the easiest ways to practice English because you always know what to say. So start with these three parts, keep it simple, and soon you'll notice a big improvement. This method is perfect for spoken English for beginners who want to speak clearly and confidently.
Now that we know the three parts of a strong introduction, let's talk about some essential sentences you can start with. These simple sentence templates are easy to remember and perfect for daily English speaking practice. For example, starting with, Hi, my name is Ryan, is the most basic and friendly way to begin. You can also use Hello, I'm Priya to keep it natural and warm. Using greetings like hi or hello at the start helps make your introduction polite and clear. Also, saying your name slowly and clearly makes sure the listener understands you well. This small step is very important when learning to speak English confidently.
Yes, Ryan. And another important sentence to add is about your work or role. You can say, I work as a teacher, or I'm a student. If you don't work, you can simply say, I stay at home, or I take care of my family. These simple sentences show your daily routine or job and help the other person understand your life better. When practicing, it's good to try different sentences that match your situation. Also, using contractions like I'm instead of I am helps your speech sound natural and fluent. This is a small change, but very effective in daily English speaking practice.
Right, Priya. Adding a personal detail about yourself makes your introduction more interesting and helps start conversations. You can say something like, In my free time, I like reading books, or I enjoy cooking traditional food. This part doesn't have to be long, just a simple sentence to show your personality or interests. When you practice these sentences regularly, your confidence in speaking English grows. Remember, English speaking practice is not just about learning grammar, it's about using simple sentences in everyday life to communicate clearly and naturally.
Exactly, Ryan. Daily English speaking practice is very important for improving your fluency. You can practice these sentences in different ways. For example, speaking in front of a mirror, practicing with friends or family, or even recording yourself and listening later. This helps you hear your mistakes and improve your pronunciation. Try to focus on speaking slowly and clearly. It's better to take your time than to rush and make mistakes. With daily practice, These sentences will become natural for you and your confidence will increase with every introduction.
Another tip to sound more natural is to pay attention to small words and contractions. Instead of saying I am, use I'm. Instead of I do not, say I don't. These small changes make your speech smoother and easier to understand. When you use contractions, your introduction will sound like a natural conversation, not a formal speech. Practicing these details during your English-speaking practice will help your fluency improve quickly. The goal is to speak clearly and comfortably, not perfectly.
Yes, Ryan. Also, don't forget to smile when you introduce yourself. A smile makes your voice sound friendly and welcoming, even if your English is not perfect. When you combine simple, clear sentences with a friendly tone and a smile, people will enjoy talking to you more. Keep practicing these essential sentences every day, and soon introducing yourself in English will feel easy and natural. Regular daily English speaking practice is the key to becoming confident in any conversation.
Now that we know how to introduce ourselves with simple sentences, let's talk about some common mistakes people make when introducing themselves in English. First, many people tend to over-explain. For example, instead of saying, "My name is Rajesh," they might say, "Myself, Rajesh. I am from Pakistan, and I work in a bank." This sounds confusing and unnatural. One of the best English-speaking tips is to keep your introduction clear and to the point. Over-explaining can make you lose your listener's attention.
Exactly, Ryan. Another common mistake is using words that are too complex or difficult. Sometimes people think using big words will make them sound better in English. But actually, it can confuse the listener and make you feel less confident. For example, instead of saying, "I am an educator, specializing in pedagogical techniques," simply say, "I am a teacher." Using simple words helps you improve English fluency and makes your introduction easy to understand for everyone.
Yes, Priya. Another important mistake to avoid is being either too formal or too casual. For instance, saying, "Myself, Rajesh," is too formal and sounds awkward in everyday conversations. On the other hand, saying, "Yo, I'm Rajesh," might be too casual for some situations, like a job interview or meeting new clients. So, it's important to find a balance. Speak politely but naturally. This is a key English-speaking tip for improving fluency and making a good impression.
Right, Ryan. If you want to sound natural, try using simple sentences like, "My name is Rajesh," "I work as an engineer," or "I'm from Karachi." These sentences are polite and easy to understand. Also, avoid adding too many details at once. You can share more about yourself later in the conversation. Keeping your introduction short and clear is one of the best ways to improve English fluency and help others understand you easily.
Another mistake people often make is speaking too fast because they are nervous. When you speak quickly, your words may become unclear and listeners may not understand you. One of the best English-speaking tips is to slow down and speak clearly. It's better to pause for a moment than to rush. This helps you sound confident and improves your fluency over time. Practicing this regularly will make a big difference in how well people understand you.
Yes, Ryan. Lastly, don't worry about making mistakes while introducing yourself. Everyone makes mistakes, and it's part of learning. The important thing is to keep practicing and stay confident. By avoiding these common mistakes like over-explaining, using difficult words, or speaking too fast, you'll improve your English fluency quickly. Remember, clear and simple is always better than complicated and confusing.
Now that we've talked about what to say in your introduction and how to avoid mistakes, let's focus on making your introduction sound natural and smooth. One way to do this is by using simple connectors like and, but, also, and because. These words help link your ideas together, so your introduction doesn't sound like separate sentences. For example, instead of saying, "I live in Lahore, I work in a textile company," you can say, "I live in Lahore, and I work in a textile company." This small change helps your speech flow better and sounds more natural.
Exactly, Ryan. Using these connectors is an easy way to improve your English conversation practice. When you link your sentences smoothly, it feels like a real conversation, not just a list of facts. Another example is, I like reading books, but I also enjoy playing sports. This shows two ideas connected naturally. When you practice speaking with these connectors, you learn English fast because your sentences become more interesting and easier to understand.
Yes, Priya. Another useful connector is because. It helps explain why you do something. For example, I'm learning English because I want to get a better job. This sentence shows your reason clearly and connects your ideas in a simple way. Using words like because helps your introduction sound complete and thoughtful. Practicing these connectors regularly during your English conversation practice will make your speaking smoother and more fluent.
Right, Ryan. Besides connectors, tone and rhythm are also important for natural flow. Try to vary your tone by stressing important words and pausing at the right places. For example, say, I live in Lahore and I work in a textile company. With a small pause after Lahore. This makes your speech easier to follow. Speaking with rhythm and changing your tone keeps listeners interested and makes your English sound more natural. Practicing this will help you learn English fast and speak confidently.
Another tip for a natural flow is to avoid long pauses or stopping too often. Try to keep your sentences connected smoothly without sounding rushed. Using connectors like but, and also helps you keep talking without stopping. When you practice this during your daily English conversation practice, it builds your confidence and helps you speak with a clear and easy flow.
Yes, Ryan. Remember, learning to add natural flow takes time, but with regular practice, it becomes easier. Practice your introductions using simple connectors and focus on your tone and rhythm. This will make your English sound more fluent and natural. Keep practicing, and you will learn English fast while speaking like a native in your conversations.
Now, let's focus on some simple but powerful practice exercises you can do every day to improve your English introduction. One of the easiest exercises is to say your introduction in front of a mirror. This helps you observe your facial expressions, gestures, and body language, which are important parts of communication. When you see yourself speaking confidently, it boosts your self-esteem. This is a great daily English speaking practice method, especially for spoken English for beginners.
That's a great point, Ryan. Another effective exercise is to record yourself while introducing in English and then listen carefully to the recording. When you play it back, pay attention to your pronunciation, tone, and speed. You might notice small mistakes or areas where you can improve. Recording yourself regularly is an excellent way to track progress and practice daily English speaking practice, helping you get better step by step.
Yes, Priya. And to add to that, practicing your introduction with family members or friends is very helpful too. You can take turns introducing yourselves and gently correct each other if needed. This practice simulates real conversations, which helps reduce nervousness and builds your confidence. For spoken English for beginners, regular speaking with others is essential because it prepares you for real-life situations.
Absolutely, Ryan. Another useful tip is to break your introduction into small parts and practice them separately before putting it all together. For example, first practice saying your name clearly, then the part about your job or daily routine, and finally your personal interest or hobby. Practicing in smaller chunks makes the task less overwhelming, and over time, you can combine the parts smoothly. This technique improves fluency and makes daily English speaking practice more manageable.
Good advice, Priya. Also, try practicing your introduction at different times of the day, maybe once in the morning and again before bed. This repetition helps reinforce your memory and increases your comfort level with speaking English. The more you practice daily, the faster your spoken English improves. Remember, spoken English for beginners becomes easier with consistent effort and patience.
Finally, Ryan, don't forget to be patient with yourself during this learning process. Sometimes progress might feel slow, but every small effort counts. Celebrate your improvements no matter how small, and keep practicing every day. Consistent daily English speaking practice is the key to gaining confidence and fluency in English. With time, you'll find that introducing yourself in English becomes natural and enjoyable.
Finally, let's talk about how to expand your introduction as your confidence and English skills improve. When you first start, short and simple introductions are perfect. But as you practice more and improve English fluency, you can add more details like your goals, passions, or future plans. This helps you share more about yourself and makes your introduction more interesting.
That's right, Ryan. For example, after saying your name and job, you can add something like, I'm passionate about learning new languages, or my goal is to improve my English so I can work at an international company. Adding these small details shows more about who you are and gives the listener a better idea of your personality. This also makes your English conversation practice more meaningful.
Exactly, Priya. Another important skill is learning how to adjust your introduction depending on the setting. In formal situations like job interviews or business meetings, you want to keep your introduction polite and professional. In casual settings, like meeting new friends, it's okay to be more relaxed and add personal details or hobbies. Knowing this balance will help you improve English fluency and speak confidently anywhere.
Also, as your English conversation practice improves, try to use different sentence structures and vocabulary to keep your introduction fresh. Instead of always saying, I work as a teacher, you could say, I'm currently teaching English to young learners. Small changes like these show progress and make your introduction more natural and engaging.
And don't forget that expanding your introduction doesn't mean making it long or complicated. It's about adding meaningful information in a clear and simple way. This approach helps you connect better with the listener and shows that you are confident in your spoken English. Keep practicing, and over time, your introductions will sound smooth and professional.
So, to sum up this episode, we've covered why your introduction matters, the basic parts of a strong introduction, how to avoid mistakes, and tips for adding natural flow. We also shared practice exercises and how to expand your introduction as you improve. Keep practicing daily, and soon introducing yourself in English will feel easy and natural. Thanks for listening, and see you in the next episode.